Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is David Farahi, COO of Nasdaq-listed Monarch Casino and Resort, to discuss changes in Colorado gaming state law and what that means for strategy going forward. David, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you for having me, Jill.
All right, and give us a little bit of background here. What are some of those changes with Colorado gaming laws and what it means for the business and the industry?
So Colorado has a long and pretty interesting gaming history. When Colorado first legalized gaming about 30 years ago, it was really the fourth state to do it, and it did it in a unique way. They only allowed commercial casinos in 3 little mountain towns, old mining towns: Black Hawk, Central City, and Cripple Creek, and the maximum bet at that time was only $5. And so, and very few games. So you can play blackjack, but you don't make a max bet of $5. Then, almost 15 years ago, the state constitution was amended to allow gaming to go for 24 hours a day. It wasn't 24 hours before that. It could now go 24 hours a day. They added craps and roulette, and they went to $100. And up until 9 days ago, that's where it stayed. We had 24-hour gaming, we had craps, roulette, blackjack, variants of poker, and the maximum bet was $100. But 9 days ago, that all changed, and the voters of Colorado on last November's ballot changed the constitution to allow the voters of the 3 gaming towns, Black Hawk, Central City, and Cripple Creek, to decide for themselves what they wanted the max bet to be and what games they wanted to approve. And so the Constitution changed. The voters of the 3 towns voted. They decided they wanted to let the casinos put whatever limits they wanted, just like pretty much every other casino in America except in South Dakota. And they also approved a slew of new games. Chief among them is Baccarat. So if you were here on April 30th, you would have seen games like blackjack and 3-card poker and roulette and craps, but the maximum bet was $100. On May 1st, just 9 days ago, we added Baccarat overnight, and all of our limits went up. And so now somebody can walk into the resort that you see pictured here behind me, and they can bet just off the street up to $3,000. And if someone wants to bet more, we have a conversation with them, and that's available as well. So really a pretty big change to the industry here in Colorado, and set the table for a lot of opportunity for the industry here in Colorado.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like, I mean, it's a whole fresh market to attract bettors to come into. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to go to Colorado. It's a great place to visit, but this really sounds like it's almost like a whole new business.
It certainly elevates the industry to a whole new level. And we bought a little slot house in Colorado in 2012 called the Riviera. And we spent really kind of the last decade turning that slot house into the resort that you see here behind me, with 516 rooms. When it's all done, we'll have 4 restaurants, 60,000 square feet of casino space. Our world-class spa on the roof is already open, with a beautiful pool deck overlooking the Rocky Mountains. Our Chop House was just named best steakhouse in all of Denver by Westward Magazine, and the best hotel restaurant in all of Denver. So we've always had an eye to creating a full destination gaming resort here in Colorado at a level that the state has never seen. And that's what we've been working on developing for the last 10 years. The timing kind of worked out pretty perfectly for us, that we were able to get the limits, help drive the changes in the limits in the games to take effect. Like I said, just 9 days ago. Our resort just opened in November, so it's very new, very fresh, and has been extremely well received by our guests over the last 6 months. And we're very excited. We built the resort for the day when limits would go away. They now have, and we're very much ready to welcome that high-end player.
Right. And David, to wrap up here, it's great timing too, because we're starting to get on the other side of the pandemic as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, we just put out our first quarter release. We had the best first quarter in the history. Well, we had the best quarter in the history of the company. We broke all sorts of records: market share, revenue, EBITDA margin there in the first quarter. And we haven't even started marketing the resort yet, even though it opened in November. Because of COVID restrictions around occupancy, we haven't even started telling the world about this property. We just used our database to grow the business, and we did so effectively for our first quarter release. We're going to launch that advertising campaign next week here in the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains to tell the 3 million people that live within 45 minutes of the property, there's a brand new jewel in the Rockies. You got to come and check it out. So we're really excited to spread the word next week, especially with the limits being taken away.
All right, David, we look forward to it. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you, Jill.